Morning, everybody. We are super excited to be here and looking forward to talking to this group a little bit more about how to accelerate new hire onboarding powered by AI and assets-backed HRSM. So my name is Zach Paris. I run new hire onboarding here at Atlassian.
My name is Thomas McPhee, and I run the technical onboarding for FanDuel.
And we're going to be presenting kind of both sides of the coin here. I'll be talking about the HR perspective. Thomas will be talking about the IT perspective. All right, let's roll. So I always think about new hire onboarding as something of a cross between a first day of school and a first date, but with the additional pressure that your financial livelihood depends on your performance. Needless to say, this can create some awkward and sometimes uncomfortable moments. So I always like to just pulse the room and see, does anybody have what I like to call an onboarding cringe story? Show of hands. Something that happened, first day of work, a little bit uncomfortable. Yeah, we've all been there. In fact, I would bet that every single person in this room can remember something that happened on your first day of work at your current organization. No one's shouting me down, so I'll take that as a yes. I've seen plenty of onboarding horror stories. We had a new hire, or I know a new hire actually, who went to 3 different FedEx locations looking for his laptop on day 1. That was the entirety of his day 1. There, of course, are endless horror stories about people who mismanaged permissions and got access to the wrong documents at the wrong time. I'm guilty of that myself. And of course, background checks not clearing in advance of start date for no fault of the new hire. These are all things that just happen. And they really speak to the reality that onboarding matters. It's, it's hard to get right fundamentally. To onboard one person at Atlassian requires over 100 tasks to be executed across a dozen different teams. And multiply that out by the thousands of people that we hire every year globally, and you get a sense of how big this challenge really is. Second, there's actually quite a high cost to getting it wrong, not just in terms of the personal employee experience, but in terms of the business cost. In organizations with knowledge workers, those knowledge workers are one of the top 2 biggest expense items for the company. And when you hire a new person, that new person isn't performing at the level that you are paying them for until they're fully ramped up. So there's a difference there, and that's a cost to the business, a very direct cost. Again, when you're growing and scaling, that cost really adds up quickly. And last, it's a foundational employee experience, not just for all of you who can remember what happened on your first day of work at your current company, but it sets the tone for your interaction and your level of engagement through the entire rest of your time in the organization. We at Atlassian measure the success of onboarding, our kind of top-line metric, on what we call time to impact. Essentially, time to impact measures how long it takes an employee to reach or exceed average performance for their role and level. Now, we know that one of the drivers that can accelerate time to impact is usage of Atlassian products, because we run our whole company on our own products, of course. And like many other companies, probably most of yours, we're intensely focused on driving usage of AI and Rovo. What you're looking at right here is where we started on our onboarding transformation journey. The light gray line shows AI usage for an average new hire about a year ago. You can see it's not particularly good. New hires are running at about half the usage of the average Atlassian employee, and really only 1 in 2, roughly 57%, are weekly active users. Sadly, the qualitative stories on top of this about onboarding at Atlassian were even worse. Truthfully, embarrassingly, onboarding at Atlassian was kind of broken. All 3 of the examples that I shared previously actually happened at Atlassian. We had a new hire, a new grad, run all over town looking for their laptop on day 1. We had issues with people who weren't passing or clearing background checks on time before their start date through no fault of their own. And like I said, plenty of experiences of people who mismanage permissions and access, in part because, as you can see, they weren't using the right tools. And again, I'm in that category, sadly. The reality was that onboarding just hadn't scaled with our growth as a company, and it certainly wasn't ready for the AI transformation that was coming. So what we did about a year ago is we sat down and we thought about how do we really build new hire onboarding into the most AI native people program that we possibly can. And what does that really mean? Like, what are the principles that we should adopt as we think about how to make onboarding truly AI native? And as we worked through this and thought through this, we really landed on 3 principles. First, onboarding should be personalized. In fact, hyper-personalized. From the first email the new hire gets after they sign their offer to their individualized onboarding plan that has role and team-specific goals for their first 30, 60, and 90 days, everything should be personalized and customized to the new hire. Second, onboarding has to be orchestrated. Think about the 100 plus tasks that I mentioned earlier that have to happen for one single employee to join our organization. There are an endless number of things that need to go right as you look at automations to save time, reducing manual errors, and eliminating silos across teams. That's what needs to happen if you're going to be able to truly orchestrate the back end of the onboarding experience, and that requires AI and automations. Last, the tooling has to be flexible. So flexible that me and my team, who have never written a line of code in our life, can update and make changes to the experience live and in real time to reflect what's actually happening in our business, because onboarding has to keep pace with what's going on in the business. Let's take a little bit of a closer look at the onboarding process and journey that we built for Atlassian using Jira Service Management and Rovo to make a truly AI native onboarding journey. We've got our fictional new hire Jill and her manager Chris here. And from the moment that Jill signs her offer letter, which kicks off our onboarding process, there are a number of things that happen automatically that are triggered in an automated workflow. Now, what Jill experiences is simple and straightforward. Jill gets a few emails, really, that are customized based on her role and location, that lay out basically the fundamental actions that she needs to take to keep her engaged as she prepares to join the company and complete all of her compliance tasks and obligations. These emails are all sent automatically through preset triggers and determined rules that my team as the business owners can set. Behind the scenes, you can see a lot more. You'll notice that there is a number of automations and activities that are happening behind the scenes, again, set by business rules that my team articulated and created here. What this is showing you right now is essentially the rules that govern the email that Jill is going to get based on her location. When you onboard a new hire, the requirements for each location are different because right to work paperwork is different. You can see on the right-hand side of the slide, I can edit that text in real time, anytime, to update any bit of information that Jill and every new hire receives. Now, as all these agents and these AI teammates of our ops team are going through and doing their work, they're dutifully noting and tagging what they're accomplishing in each individual ticket, as you can see here. They're also flagging any errors that are occurring. And again, this is all running through automated processes in Jira Service Management. What my team is doing is what you see right now, essentially looking at the data that's coming back. My team of HR professionals are sitting and reviewing information across a host, hundreds and eventually thousands of new hires to identify trends, understand problems, look and find where there are gaps and where there are opportunities. That's the level of data and visibility that my team gets to have, all powered by work that AI and Rovo is doing. Now, one of my favorite automations that kicks off actually helps specifically the new hire manager, excuse me. Onboarding a new employee is incredibly time consuming, as I'm sure many of you know and appreciate. Now, one of the best examples, I think, of how AI delivers personalization and time savings at scale is to create a customized onboarding plan for every single new hire. Now, Rovo can create these with an incredible amount of precision thanks to the power of the teamwork graph. What it will do, and what you're seeing here, is Rovo suggesting to the manager projects the new hire could work on, goals and OKRs that this new hire could be held accountable, people the new hire should meet and network with, pages the new hire should read to get up to speed, recurring meetings the new hire should get added to, email listservs the new hire could get added to, on and on and on. All the new hire has to do is simply click on the right-hand side and either accept Rovo's selections or edit and make changes as they go. At the end of this process, there will be a hyper-personalized, hyper-customized onboarding plan specific to every single new hire. That's saving managers about 4 hours of time per new hire, which is incredibly valuable and impactful. Now, by the time Jill actually starts her onboarding journey, her day one of her onboarding journey, Jira Service Management has really curated a host of different experiences and activities just for her. One of the principles that we use at Atlassian is that we onboard new hires to our products in our products, because in order to be successful at our company, you have to be using our products all the time. We expose new hires to about 40 product moments just in their first week to help them learn our tools and ways of working. What you're looking at right now is our Jira onboarding to-do list tool. This is essentially a Jira Kanban tool that's been created and made incredibly accessible so that anybody who's never used Jira before understands the tasks that they need to do on day one. We have looms, as you can see here, that showcase every single one of our C-suite executives so our team can understand our company strategy in the words of the people actually making it. And all of these tasks are assigned through an automation and activity that's done and run by Rovo. Most of all, beyond all these different products, Jira and Confluence, we also have them use Confluence to write an intro blog, and Looms, every single new hire touches Rovo and AI from their very first day. The reality is that every single new hire has an almost limitless number of questions. And the most used Rovo agent within Atlassian over the last 6 months is an agent that myself and 2 non-technical people on my team created specifically to help new hires answer their questions. We call it NORA, the New Hire Onboarding Rovo Agent. Now, we built NORA to be the AI teammate, really the first AI teammate for every single new hire. Think of it as a new hire's AI onboarding buddy. NORA has access to a host of information and can reply on a wide range of different questions for essentially anything that a new hire could ask. Everything from what to wear into the office on day one, to benefit options, to self-help resources to troubleshoot IT problems. We found that there is such enormous demand that new hires have to get answers to questions on demand and in real time that in 6 short months, NORA has answered over 15,000 questions from new hires in 6 short months. Just as importantly, what NORA does is it teaches everybody how to use Rovo. So all these new hires who come into our organization, who maybe have experience with other AI tools or have never even used an AI tool, from day one, get exposed to using AI and learn how to use AI to answer their questions and find the information that they need to be more productive. It's an incredibly, incredibly powerful tool and resource that we use. The end result of all of this work on all the automations that we have in behind the scenes in Jira Service Management, the experiences that we create using our own products, NORA and our agents, all sum up to faster time to impact. In fact, we really focused additionally on specific actions that we know new hires and managers needed to take that we could automate, in addition to surfacing just information that we thought was really helpful for them. For example, when Chris, Jill's manager here, identified people for Jill to have an introductory one-on-one with, AI and Jira Service Management automatically scheduled those one-on-ones, cutting out administrative work. When Chris accepts Rovo's suggestion of the email listservs that Jill should be added to, Rovo and Jira Service Management go ahead and actually add her to those email listservs, on and on. At every step of the process, Rovo and automations in Jira Service Management have delivered a more personalized onboarding experience with better orchestration and with the flexibility that enables my team of HR professionals to make changes in real time. What does that all amount to? Like I said, time to impact. Now, there are lots of ways that faster time to impact shows up, but one of the clearest ways is in our AI usage data. Like I said earlier, Atlassian has a really ambitious goal around driving AI adoption internally, as I'm sure many of your organizations do as well. Since launching our AI native onboarding program, we have driven an 8x increase in AI message volume over week one, largely thanks to NORA. 93% of new hires use AI every single week, a 36 percentage point increase. And now new hires may start by using Rovo to help them learn how to use, start by using NORA to help them learn how to use Rovo, but they continue to explore the benefits of AI quite organically. We've seen a 5x increase in the number of weekly super users, defined as new hires who are using AI 40 or more times per week, which is a massive, massive uptick. Now, we know that there are huge productivity benefits to using AI, but we also are starting to see in our research that there are even performance benefits that we can see in our performance management system to being an AI super user. What that means is that not only are we driving AI usage that's flowing through for productivity for new hires, but we're actually raising the performance bar at Atlassian just by driving this level of AI usage and adoption. With every new hire that joins Atlassian, we are becoming a more AI-centric organization because as you can see, that blue line of new hires today is well above the black line of an average Atlassian. The benefits go well beyond just AI usage, as I alluded to. 86% of managers said that their new hire was performing at or above the level of a tenured employee just 3 months after starting. We're on track to eliminate 60% of the manual work that we were doing behind the scenes to make our onboarding program run through the automations that we've deployed in Jira Service Management. And we're saving hiring managers about half a day per new hire in administrative work and time and effort. That's an enormous value when you add that up over the hundreds and thousands of people that Atlassian is onboarding and hiring every single year. That's the value of AI native onboarding with Jira Service Management. Faster ramp time to a higher level of employee performance with significantly less effort and time spent from hiring managers, from my HR team, and as you'll hear from Thomas, from the IT team as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. So we'll start with a show of hands. How many have an IT horror story for onboarding? Okay, so I'm not alone here. The first common ground Zach and I found when discussing the whole onboarding process was that HR is complicated. I'll leave it at that, right? Yeah, exceptions just pop up week by week, and you have to ensure, there's a threshold where 3 exceptions turns into a pseudo process, then eventually just turns into an expected behavior for your employees. So my personal horror stories has been manual onboarding tasks. So in the past, we've had to create Okta accounts manually, and this included access provisioning. And it led to 40 minutes per new hire. So for onboarding 20 plus people, that's just a huge time sink. And unfortunately, this leads to less white glove service and bandwidth to help users that are currently employed, not just new hires. We also had a very archaic asset management system, which was mainly shared OneDrive, Excel sheets that can mess up with versioning occasionally, and led to a lot of headaches. And also just general onboarding headaches. So technical and non-technical teams tend to be siloed and not understand the impact that each group has with each other. Now, with the magic of assets in JSM, we have created a user directory sync directly from Okta into assets via Ricado. And what this does is give us a one-to-one record for us to leverage any HRIS or Okta profile attributes. And this can be used for dynamic filtering and automation rules. On top of user directory sync, we've automated access requests for the company. So we leverage the user selection and also an additional database that contains our systems and permissions with the necessary attributes for us to send a payload over to Okta to action access requests. And this is the shiniest toy, would be our MDM sync into Jira Assets. This allows for us to have cradle to grave employee and endpoint lifecycle tracking. And so as an example, if you purchased a device from an Apple vendor, it shows up in pre-stage enrollment, and we automatically have that device available in the available status, ready to deploy within a JSM ticket. So it just populates as they come into our stock. Here's a quick show of our access request form. You'll notice there's only 2 fields. This is due to the dynamic filtering. So based on the system you select, it then checks only the permissions present within that system. So if we were to change that system above on the access request system, there'd be a new set of permissions to populate. So this leads to less admin tasks overall and just lower custom field count. I'm sure everyone has felt that pain before. This is the high-level overview of our asset management sync with MDM. So it takes from both sources and performs a daily delta check between MDMs and assets. And any difference there is either creating a new object, which would be creating a new device that is an MDM, or any scoped in attributes. And the beauty of assets is all the complicated stuff I just discussed turned into a nice, pretty picture for people to understand the relationship between each object. So on the left, you'll see my account, all the laptops that I've been assigned. I've been at FanDuel for 6 years, so a lot of laptops. My direct manager, and all these service accounts that are under my name. And on the right side, you can see all the valuable data that can be used for finance, which includes invoices, PO number, vendor, and also just general helpful information for IT support. So specifically, the replacement you're seeing right there. We have over 20 different reasons for replacement, so you can look back at a user's history and just understand, do they trip and fall a lot, or is it a reasonable replacement? So the overall impacts with assets and Jira Service Management integration has been we've had more consistent day one experiences with new hires. We no longer have duplicate accounts, no typos, as automation handles the inputs directly from our HRIS. Everything is connected, so if an asset object is present in a JSM ticket, it will forever be linked to that object. And if you go into assets, you can see all linked issues, and it just provides a full picture of the lifespan of the employee. As you saw in the access request form, that is where the enhanced AQL filtering comes into play. So that was just one of the forms of it. This can also include making custom field that's by user type, so contingent worker versus an HRIS user, IC versus manager, and just general BU, sub-BU, and department filtering. The largest one, especially for FanDuel, we are a heavily regulated industry. This includes being on New York Stock Exchange, so SOX requirements, and also each state has their own gaming commission. So they have different requirements. So we tend to have to skew to the more safe approach, I would say, just to not get caught out. And what Assets provides is the compliance team to be able to quickly do a JQL query that we provide, like a boilerplate one, and they can just get timestamps whenever needed. So we don't have to get interrupted during our day, and auditors are happy because we have timestamps down to the millisecond so they can verify access. So I mentioned before it was 40 minutes for new hires to be processed manually. We dropped from 40 minutes to 10 minutes per new hire and saved over 40 days of engineering time, which allows them to do their, in my opinion, proper job of helping users and making them feel comfortable with the technology. I'd like to take this time to shout out the other teams responsible for this work. The Ricardo team, my mentor, Dave Sunter, he used to work here, but he went on to greener pastures, but he essentially taught me the foundation and let me become the expert I am today. And some advice for new assets users is just start with the basics, with the database, and build out everything you need. But when you start to integrate everything into JSM, you should really be documenting the process flow. Because when you build out a first version, it makes sense, but 3 months down the line, a process you thought you understood was mixed up because you didn't talk to the right people. And then you have to think, oh, what rule was that one component changing a status on a piece of hardware? And I recently went through that. I documented it, unfortunately not well enough. So lesson learned, I'm a little more careful going forward. Yeah, thank you.